Everyone. Welcome to another Tuesday Newsday. Oops, I am not muted. Let me find where that's happening. There it is. Okay. Um, Sorry about that. Hi, Randall.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
I just
Fantastic.
had you on Tuesday Newsday, the one before this past one,
Yeah.
for Gen Con, and we announced my hero.
No, that was that was super fun. It also
And
was crazy because like you're right in the middle of setting up the hall. You're sprinting back, hot and sweaty, trying to not look quite so hot and sweaty. Did that?
yeah,
Do that,
I
and then
think I
head
wore
back to the
four
hall.
shirts that day.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's the build hall, man.
Yeah, it's
That's
they
great.
don't turn the AC on until convention day, so Thursday. So all the setup Monday through Wednesday, it's just awful in there.
Hot, sweaty, dirty. Yep,
It's bad.
yep,
Well, we didn't have enough talk about MHA, so we're back to do some more.
yep.
Um, but we want to get through all of the news with you guys that we have here.
Yeah.
So, Battletech news. Um, I think might have mentioned last week, or I think Lauren mentioned last week. So, the Gothic boxes are in transit to our warehouse. So we're thinking that they're going to get there by pretty for an August or an October 1st launch is our tentative right now. If it gets there early, we may be able to move it up. If it doesn't, we'll have to get an October street date for that. I think the Atlases sold out before at Gen Con, right?
The C scale, those we actually flew in.
Yeah.
And so those will be out late. Those will be out probably a month or two after the actual box set. But yes,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Gen Con. We also flew in more boxes than or we had more boxes of Gothic than any Battletech box set that we've ever released before by a good margin, and came within a hair's breadth of selling it all out.
Yeah, we had
So
6 left, I think, was
yeah,
the
total record setting. It was awesome. And then that gigantic 16-foot by 16-foot Gothic banner that just dominated the hall. Like, it was awesome. Great
we
experience.
I teased with you at Gen Con that because we end up with all of these giant banners, we should like raffle them off for people to decorate like the side of a house with, like, because
That'd
they're
be
so
very
big.
cool. Yeah, because a lot of these banners just then sit in our storage after
Yeah.
years. We only use them for a year, two, maybe three at the most. And
Yeah,
then you got to cycle over to what the next big thing is. So
16 by 16 though, and I'm guessing they're not weather resistant.
no, it's cloth. It's like
Oh,
yeah. So it's like a spandex thing. So
I,
yeah,
I
that
guess if you have a barn, you could decorate the inside of your barn.
now the 38 foot by 15 foot, that's a vinyl. So
Ooh,
would we cycle that one out? Absolutely. If somebody has a barn to put it on, that would that would handle the weather very well, actually.
that's awesome. Or a multi-story house that has a flat side and you know no windows on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it would be great if your window lined up with the cockpit.
Oh, the Met cockpit, and you slice that out.
That'd be pretty
now
epic.
now
Put
I'm
your
on
desk in front of that.
my house. That's cool.
It's
That's
no
what,
longer up for raffle because Lauren
yeah,
or because Randall wants it now.
that's great because I'm just taking it. Sorry, guys.
Awesome. And then with Gothic releasing late September, early October, Aces is, I think we're slated for the end of November currently,
I have a
correct?
box in my hand.
Oh, that's very nice upside down.
Is it? Oh, I have a box in my hands.
Yay! You posted a real fun picture of that box as well with you on your socials yesterday with you, Tommy, and Eric from
Yeah, from Penny
Penny
Arcade.
Arcade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were actually over playing. I was teaching them My Hero Academia so they could get used to that and see if they want to be involved in that in some fashion, and then also playing Tommy Rice's Partha Wars with them. And this came while he was here, and Eric, of course, along with all the rest of the people at Penny Arcade. They run that Alpha Strike MechWarrior Destiny campaign, the Black Remnant that they've been running for several years now, and we did a force pack with them. And so I gave him a copy because I know how much they love it, and that they would immediately put it on the table, and maybe it'll start showing up in their stream. But
Awesome.
so from a creative standpoint, Battletech Gothic was a joy, right? Like I got to visually work with Marco Mazzoni, magnificent artist, to craft a whole new thing, like a whole new look, right? And then looking over Herb's shoulders and just kind of letting Herb run wild and create this wonderful universe and poke him here and there with suggestions for, hey, what about this? What about this? You know, usual production development side. But Aces, I am beyond excited for Aces from a development standpoint because I think there's a chance that there will be so many more people playing this game and universe that we love because of the co-op and the solo mode.
Yeah.
And I just to be able to and huge shout out to Tommy Gofton and Josh and their whole team for really making it happen. Josh is just a beast of a designer, and he has really created something really special here. And to have been working on this thing for 30 plus years or almost 30 years, and to do something not only truly new for Battletech, but to have Battletech then be doing something truly new in the tabletop miniatures space is something truly amazing.
That's
And
awesome.
so, yeah, I think this is going to be spectacular. I think this is going to be on nearly everybody's table. And this and this is for Alpha Strike, but we're already starting to work on classic rules. And so there will be actually 4 of these box sets. We went in big, and each one of these are a big campaign that you can experience on your table for weeks, if not months, different parts of the Old Clan era. And then we absolutely will be working on classic rules to follow up.
Cool.
So yeah, this is just amazing, awesome stuff we got coming for Battletech.
And then I believe the other October release is Technical Readout 3025 Commemorative.
Yes, that was incredibly awesome. It's just a year of awesome, right? To be able to Ray came to me at the beginning of the year with this crazy idea of, 1,000 years in the future from right now, within Battletech's future, is when 3025 published. And so the whole team came together and worked on this at lightning speed. Just giant shout out to everyone, Ray and Aaron and Anthony and Marco, and I could go on for like 10 minutes for everyone that made this possible. And then I actually, for the first time, I actually got to meet Dwayne Luce. Dwayne Luce was the very first original artist for Battletech.
Ooh.
All of the original 3025 art he did, as well as immense amounts of other art. And the original 3025, not only, if you were there, if you're nice and old like me and you were there at that time, not only was that the book you read until the cover fell off and then you went and got another one and did it again, but it really set a bar in our entire hobby for how amazing a book could be. And so to be able to meet him, to be able to work with him to build there's like an 8 or 10 page expose in the back. So basically we rebuilt the text from the original 3025 exactly as it was. It's all new art. And then in the back, there is an addendum of various things. And one of them is like an 8 or 10 page expose about Dwayne, about like what this art meant, what Battletech meant.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right. Just really amazing. So anyone that's been, it's a great looking book if you're brand new and want to check it out. But for those that have been around a while, it's just a really giant love letter for all of us, for Battletech and the community.
That's it's really cool watching you get to geek out, seeing people that geek out from meeting you who've worked for 30 years on Battletech.
Yeah.
And then, Battletech's another 8 years older, or
10 years,
11 years older than that.
Yeah.
And seeing you geek out about some of those people that you never had the opportunity to work with is
Yeah,
so
it was actually really cool because Dwayne was like, "Wow, I'm actually really excited to meet you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're Dwayne Luce, right?" So it was, but no, he's been following us all these years. You know, he's a teacher and he's taught for years and years and created wonderful, you know, hundreds, if not maybe even thousands of additional artists over the years. But he still follows Battletech because, man, when Battletech gets his fingers in you, it never lets go.
that's
And
awesome.
so, you know, peeking over the shoulder and seeing what we're doing, and he was excited. We're excited, and hopefully the fans will love what we did.
And then also, so I met with Talon on Friday, and we took a look at the rest of this year, and tentatively, we're looking at for along with Aces in November doing Force Manual Mercenaries.
Yep.
And then in December, we'd be looking at the House Karita Ranger Lance Force Pack and the House Karita Command Lance Force Pack. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yep. So
Cool.
we did the two Davian packs, and were the first faction specific packs that really focus in on the mechs that everyone instantly thinks of as, oh, those are Davian. Both out of some of the technical readouts, also out of the field manual series, and so then Kurita is the same thing. It would have been out a while ago, but once again, like, you know, as I say, uh, uh, people have asked if Gothic messed things up in our schedule, and I can't say enough how hard we worked to keep Anthony's team out of this process. We created a whole other process to keep that off that plate. But what really was Aces. The Aces boxes themselves blew the schedule up. And then when we decided to do the 3025 book, that blew the schedule up. But I'm hoping once everyone has it in their hands, they'll be like, oh my gosh, this was totally worth it. And so now we're getting back to it. We've got those two faction packs coming out. The first of the Clan Wolf packs is just about ready to wrap up and head to production. So lots of cool, so many minis still to do.
I feel like last year's book that blew things up was Universe, and then this year's is 3025.
Yeah.
What's next year's?
I'm sure it'll be something. You know, we just come up with these cool ideas, and it's hard to say no when it's a really cool idea. I mean,
Cool.
You know, that was our streaming. You know, when Lauren calls up and says, you know, I was only like 2 weeks before Gen Con. I know we don't like to start a new thing in July, but, and then it was just too cool a thing not to do. So
Awesome.
yeah, lots of great stuff. And for those interested, even though this, you know, you don't even have your Aces box set in hands yet, the second box is all developed, playtesting is all done, most of the writing is done and is in editing, and the 3D model work will be done probably by the start of October. And so that by the end of the year, that entire box set will be into production as well.
That's
and
awesome.
So spring or summer next year. So we pushed hard on that, and it's just going to be a fantastic experience on everybody's tables.
I'm excited to see the painting that comes out of the Gothic box and what comes with that. I've got my painted mechs here, including the Star League ones, because those are the ones that I use then when I play.
Absolutely. That's what I love about Gothic, is that it's the aesthetics aren't for everyone. That's awesome. No worries. You know, it's a couple of items, then we're done. We're moving on to the next one, and maybe the next Continuum box you will be interested in. But we've had so many comments about, oh my gosh, this is a cool Solaris set. This is a cool pirate set. There's so many ways to craft it and insert it into your game in a normal Battletech game. It's just awesome.
Well, I have to hear it from you now, because last week we heard it from Lauren that it's done well enough, and we've gotten enough requests that already we are looking at abominations.
Yeah, but so in my mind, I always knew that was going to happen. So when we talked about, oh, it's going to be one box, I always knew it would probably be 4 or 5 total items. So box set, the C scale, the salvage box. Now the C scale is new. We kind of did that with the Timberwolf in the Mercenary set, so that's a relatively new thing.
I know
But
my Timberwolf needs his friend.
exactly. But as of now, when we do a new box, it's almost a guaranteed, and it's a big thing. It's almost guaranteed there will be a salvage box. So I almost don't even count that as an item. And then the moment I saw Marco's amazing abominations, I'm like, I know people are going to want this. And
That's
so we had
awesome.
already been working on that. And so, yes, at the end of the day, it'll end up being 5 items. But in the scope of what we produce for Battletech, that's just really not that big a deal. And then we'll
Right.
be moving on to the next thing.
Well, and like you said, you had the separate team away from Anthony's team
Absolutely.
developing.
Absolutely. It's a whole other thing. Anthony hardly even touched it. I believe there were a few times when Marco went to Anthony to ask for, hey, I need your advice on X, Y, or Z type of thing. But Anthony barely even touched it. In fact, he commented that yes, it was the right move, but he actually wanted to be a little involved, right? Like it's
Aw,
because he loves it. He loves the look of it, you know. And so we already talked about one of the future ones we're doing is anime, and he's like, "You will not do this box without me," which I totally understand because it's anime. And so then we got to figure out, okay, we got to plan far enough in ahead that he can be involved because we want him involved, but it still won't impact the full line of Battletech. So
fair.
lots of great stuff.
Well, let's move on to Shadowrun. So the big news for Shadowrun is that next week, I think it's a week from today, actually, is the launch of Shadowrun Anarchy 2.0.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
I was part of the development team on the first Anarchy, so it's just I love that it's done well enough and people enjoy it enough that a second edition gets to be done.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
For those of you who haven't watched the Gen Con streams, we did an actual play with B. Dave Walters, Thorneye, and Tommy Rice, as well as Tyler and Amber Bell for Anarchy 2.0. So you can see the rules there. I've been editing the Gen Con streams to release like one a day, and I'm moving up the Anarchy one because it's end of day Friday, and I just started on the Friday edits. So I'm moving that one up so that we can do some promo for it in tandem with the launch of Anarchy next week. But I'm super excited for it. I love that cover art. Like that's the art piece that I want to put up somewhere here.
So cool.
Yeah, just that dragon versus
facing down the dragon.
a meta human on the top of a building. Like, it's so good.
Yep.
But in partnership with Black Book, we'll actually have one or two people from Black Book on our stream for Tuesday Newsday next week.
That's awesome.
To talk about it. So I'm really excited for that. Otherwise, we've also got Risks and Rewards is due out. We've got Deus Ex Arcana that's coming out. We should be able to get as well the new Bullet Dice and the Lone Star t-shirt from Gen Con up on the Catalyst store as well. So keep an eye out for those.
In the next month or so, yeah, absolutely.
And then dovetailing into RPGs, as well, I know that we just got an update in the director's call that everything's written for Frostpunk. It's just getting through editing. So then it should be in production, and we should be looking for toward manufacturing and then getting a timeline toward fulfillment. Yep. Voltron, are we still waiting for NBC approvals on some stuff there?
Well, technically, it's also 11-bit approvals as well. And all the licenses waiting on approvals.
Licensees.
Yeah. It is the nature of it. We love being able to work in these properties that are amazing and that are fantastic, but it means a lot of hoops to jump through.
Sometimes it'll move really fast, and sometimes we won't hear back in 6 weeks, and it's like, please.
But no, I think it's looking very good that both Voltron RPGs as well as the Voltron card game and then the 2 Voltron books will all be able to head to print around the end of the year or so, and for heading into release next year sometime. So pretty excited to finally see that.
Awesome. Leviathans Um, oh, also just on RPGs too, we did sell at Gen Con the Kung Fu Panda RPG, and so that should be available through PDF through our store soon too.
Yeah, yeah, that was very fun to see that go out the door.
Leviathans, I know it's fulfilling. I've been seeing stuff drip through with people saying that they got their tracking or or got their packages. Tyler just got back from vacation today, so I know we want to follow up with platforms to see how fulfillment is going. I'd like to know like what percentage we're at for domestic fulfillment. And then we're actually meeting after this to talk about how things are moving, where things are for international as well. So we should have a backer update for Leviathan soon based on that.
Yep, that's fantastic.
Board games, Quincy's Taverns board game Guardians of the Four Winds did very well at Gen Con. I actually have my little envelope from Quincy autographed. I haven't, the little wax seal did open on its own in travel, so I guess I wasn't gonna open it, but
well, to be clear, it is an actual wax seal.
it is
a careful use of a lighter, and you could seal that right back up.
Awesome.
If you want to keep it sealed.
And then that's the coin that comes in it with a nice little seal on the back too.
Yep.
And then a little card from Quincy that comes in that as well. So that's my first time opening it.
Well,
I'm real excited. So this is gonna probably go up on my wall somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you got to play some games with Quincy, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to play games with Quincy. Mike got to play board games, and then he got to play Kung Fu Panda with Jason and Thor and August, who's one of the writers.
Very cool.
So
just an incredibly nice guy.
Just a lot of fun. So I'm excited to do more with them. I know there were a couple people at Gen Con, like Beth the Bard didn't get to play Shadowrun. She was really excited about Kung Fu Panda, and so was B. Dave Walters. So we're gonna do a virtual game, I think, too. So,
very cool.
But we'll definitely be playing more with Quincy. So Guardians of the Four Winds did very well. Do you have any updates for us on Partha Wars?
Partha Wars, there's actually parthawars.com. So for anyone that's interested, that is Tommy Rice. That is his universe and his game that we're going to be doing. He has novels that have been written. He originally released the first novel a little while ago. It's been re-edited and reworked on and re-prepped as part of this whole launch. You can go up to the website. There's a ton of lore and art. You can grab the quick start rules and dive into playing that in an open beta. We'll be doing that pretty much across the next 9 to 12 months. We're kind of actually, for those that follow the tabletop miniature side of gaming, there was a game called Trench Crusade that had a magnificent, huge Kickstarter, a crazy amount of excitement from a huge community. And they spent like 18 months of open beta, building a community. They built towards that as opposed to, here we're doing this thing and let's jump out. And so we really loved that grassroots style and decided to go the same route. And so that's up there. You can go up right now, check it out, look at all the lore. You can download the rules, put it on your table. When you email in, it will be going straight to Tommy Rice, who is the game designer. Tommy he's a ex NFL player. Back when the Seattle Seahawks had their boom team, he was on that team and some others. He's now a actor and voice actor, and he is in some next year will be in a computer game that I can't really say out loud yet, but it will be one of the biggest on the planet. So that's all going to be super exciting. So yeah, there's lots going on there. Actually, when I had Eric from Penny Arcade over yesterday, one of the games was to introduce him to Tommy, introduce him to Partha Wars, see if they want to be involved in that in some fashion. So lots of cool stuff. But yeah, absolutely. Go check it out.
Cool. Now what about Runefire?
Runefire. So we got at the last possible second, for those that haven't seen it, and it, of course, totally hard to see on this tiny little crappy camera. So we got the ability to contract with Wayne Reynolds, who is one of our industry's finest cover artists and has been doing Paizo covers from the very beginning. Like 20 years now, he's been doing most of their covers. And so he's, when you think of Paizo, you think of Wayne Reynolds. The two are kind of intrinsically linked. And then when Paizo released the remastered rule set, started releasing that 2 years ago, they did something I had never seen before, which is you have the regular full color cover, and then they did special covers that were detailed line drawings of those covers, and they look fantastic. I actually have all those covers. The color covers are great. You know, they're the usual quality that he provides, but there's something about that line drawing against the white background that just really made it different. And so we wanted to be able to do the exact same thing. And so this sample that we had made up for Gen Con came in, I think the art came in like 5 or 6 days before Gen Con. So it was breakneck speed to get that done. And then right now we are, the game is all designed. You know, everything's built for the core box as well as most of the first couple of expansions. Really the slowdown has been that Paizo's team were incredibly gracious and really ambitious in wanting to invite us into the main stage. They're like, we want you to be up in the land of Rissia, and we want you to be fighting the Rune Lords in our biggest stage, which was unbelievable that they would be willing to let outsiders come in and step onto that sandbox with them. But that has proved complicated then, because they're in the process of writing their story, and then we are writing the biggest, you know, if anyone has played Dragonfire, which was our Dungeons and Dragons version of this game, if anyone's played that before, this is probably 50% bigger in fiction, in the campaigns. We kind of fell in love with the setting and the fiction and went nuts as we normally do. But that just meant that, you know, all of our fiction's done, and then all of theirs is done, and then we compare and go, oh, okay, time to redraft. So that's where we're at, is we're redrafting to make sure that we both connect up. And it's no fault of anyone's, right? That's just the process of how this works. Again, we're just incredibly grateful and excited that instead of tucking us off in a corner, they're like, no, come onto the main stage. Come and play with our biggest characters, the things that the fans love the most.
And to promote our partners, Paizo has a Kickstarter that's launching in September, right?
Yes. They're, oh, dang it, what was the name of that?
I can go look them up.
Try and look it up. Yeah, it's their board game for Pathfinder. And so, yeah, if you are a Pathfinder fan in any way, shape, or form, absolutely, please check that out with them.
As I'm looking that up too, you have an update, I believe. We haven't put this anywhere yet, but we have official dates for Runefire, the Kickstarter.
We do. It will be in February.
Wahoo!
Oh my gosh, yes, we're so excited. And again, you know, it's for us, it's not that big a deal that we're pushing back. That's fine. This is simply the nature of, you know, two companies working together and the world constantly throwing curveballs at us. But at Gen Con, we were able to look at everyone's schedules and lock down that February for that. So over the next few months, we'll continue to put out our dev blogs as we talk about the game. And then, you know, towards the end of the year and then heading into the first year, we'll really start ramping up the excitement for that. So
we're having difficulty finding their project right now.
I did the same thing. I'm like, I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I typed in Paizo because you can look for creators. But it's wanting to give me lots of people that are not Paizo. projects in games.
Pathfinder Quest.
Pathfinder Quest. Yay!
Pathfinder Quest. So yes, that's coming. I can't remember exactly when, but it is in September. Please go check that out. Paizo team does a great job, and it's just been awesome to be able to work with them.
And then since I'm here, I'll put in the chat the Paizo link or the Runefire link.
Yeah.
And as I go to the chat, I see one of the mods saying, if Rem had just checked her Discord messages.
Yeah.
Listen, there's so much happening on these screens.
I love it. And thank you for finding that for us then.
Yeah, thank you.
No, but Battletech will always be my first true love. It will never go away. And Leviathans to me was a giant love letter to Battletech, so I'm really proud of that. But Runefire, just that engine that was for D&D and Pathfinder, Jay and everyone that designed the core of that engine back when it was first Shadow and Crossfire, I can't sing their praises enough. They just created an unbelievably cool game engine, and then it is just an absolute delight to work on this. I have so much fun developing this game and being able to do it on a stage like, literally the second largest role-playing stage in the world, is just awesome. So
great.
And we have some evil plans even several years downstream for even more of those games. So cool. Yeah, lots of fun stuff.
And then last but not least, My Hero.
My Hero. So we announced it. So we got a little box here. Woohoo!
I will never forget your unboxing sounds.
I love toys. I love, I love role playing. I love board games, card games, everything under the sun. In my heart of hearts, though, tabletop miniatures, particularly incredibly well done miniatures, just get me like almost nothing else. So that as I'm in that room with you, opening the boxes up and making, weird sounds.
Now, to be fair, like I'm opposite. I'm all role-playing games and stuff like that. And when I saw these minis, like they really are beautiful.
They are. Of course, you can't possibly see it well because crappy mini, but these are just stunning models. Yeah. How dynamic they are, the effects. The coloring in the effects, like if you look carefully at Bakugo's explosions off of his hands, the colors, like the way that they change through the colored plastic, like so Leah is our manufacturer. They've done all the Battletech with us, and I immediately knew that they would be the ones that we would go for My Hero Academia, because they would consider it a challenge as well and want to push it as hard as possible. Our very ambitious goal is when these come out, they will be the finest pre-painted models that have ever been put out in our hobby. And looking at these samples, I think we might be able to pull it off.
That's awesome.
Even if you never played the game, even if you could care less about the game, if you are a My Hero Academia fan, you will want some of these models, if not maybe all these models, on your shelf, because they're just fabulous collectible, almost statues of your favorite characters.
They really are. And even like I started out not having seen MHA when I saw these minis for the first time, and even then I was like, ooh, pretty. Yeah. And then I went to Otaku-thon.
Yeah, it's hard not to go ooh, pretty, man.
Yeah, and then I went to Otaku-thon the week after Gen Con, and all the vendors that had like statuettes and boxes and stuff like that, I'm like, ours are better. Like they're just prettier.
And again, a huge part of that is both the dynamic poses, but it's the almost nobody does those extra plastic effects for their quirks.
Yeah.
That's what sets these as just a whole other level of awesome.
And then like also not being a minis person and not being a primarily minis gamer, when I got to play with you, and you guys can watch it, it's on under the live streams on this channel. It's day 2. It's right after the first hour. We played My Hero together. Or no, it was Saturday, so it was day 3. But it's a fun game. Like I really enjoyed the game, and some of the elements were really fun, like the internal monologue and stuff, where now as I'm watching the series, I'm on season 2. Like there's so much of it, like Deku's analytical monologue. I'm like, oh my god, I see it now. And
that's what we were trying to do. So the design. So one, I love that you had that experience, right? Because one of the things that we wanted is that where there's tens of millions, heck, there's probably hundreds of millions of fans of My Hero Academia in the world. And we wanted any one of those who have maybe never picked up a dice in their life to be able to sit down and play this game in a way that's easy to learn, it's fun. And I think we've accomplished that. For those that have followed me a while and maybe even know like Leviathans, we started with those same polyhedral dice, just as D12's color coded. So once again, you don't have to think about the funny shaped dice. And then all the mechanics of gameplay are hidden in all that. And so then it's just color coded. It's so easy to see what you need. You grab the dice, you roll, and you're having a great time. And then Bryn, so that was my major contribution, that and the movement matrix, where as you move, the clip moves up and down, and it makes movement incredibly important. And then Bryn's main design goal is most of the abilities. He was like, I want every character to not only feel, just like you were saying, not only feel like you're watching it, but he really wanted every character to feel like they broke the game. And because that feels amazing. That feels like superheroes. That feels like My Hero Academia and their quirks and all the crazy that goes on. And it has proven that we have put in hundreds of hours of playtesting, because when everything breaks the game, then they all break the game, and then how do you get them to all work together? But I remember with Brent, when I started out, I love animation in general. I tend to lean far more in the Studio Ghibli crowd. So modern anime often has tropes in it that I don't like that much. And so I fully admit, when I first started with MHA, it was a little bit more like, well, it's kind of awesome that we get to be a part of this, but this isn't really my thing. But two things happen. One, well, when you watch something long enough, and even though My Hero Academia still has some of the tropes that don't do much for me, it has amazing aspects to it. I have absolutely fallen in love with the show. In fact, my youngest son, Kenyon, who's been a part of our playtesting the entire time, we're in season 5 last night. And in our production meeting today, I was a total moron, and I couldn't remember anything because he and I were up ridiculously late. I think we watched 12 or 15 episodes in a row of season 5 because it was just so good. The story was so good. The gut punches were so good.
It's a fun show. Like I definitely like there are its flaws. Like everyone is constantly apologizing for just existing.
Yep.
the self guilt gets to be a lot sometimes.
But once you hit like season 3 and then season 5, the story arcs are actually phenomenal.
Well, and I really like the story arcs. I like that the first half of season 2 is all one day of event, kind of thing. But I almost it's fun to be able to go into MHA having played that game with you first, and seeing the minis, because now it's like, oh man, I didn't realize, because we got to play Deku versus Bakugo, and then we got to do Deko and Uravity versus Bakugo and Ida, and so like it's literally in season 1, their first challenge together. We got to do it, and I'm like, I want to go back and like
redo
play
it.
it again now that I know these characters and like
Oh,
can lean into their.
when we were putting them together, we're like, this has to be it, right? This is what the fans expect. This is what the fans want. And so yeah, it's been. But again, that happened with the show. I did fall in love with the show, but also as with any game design, you reach a point where if it progresses far enough, some game designs crash and burn. It's just not working. You set it aside. You do something else, right? But usually if you get far enough in a game design, you eventually reach a process where it flips over from being work to a joy. And I know it's always work. I'm a huge believer. Like, I really dislike when people use the phrase of, oh, when you love the job you do, you never work a day in your life. No, you work like dogs in this industry. That doesn't change the fact that you can also feel incredibly blessed to be doing this thing you love, right? But there are times when you're working on a game and it's just work, right? It's creative, it's engaging, it's still just work. But then we had a couple of games where it was all starting to click and you were starting to see the crazy combinations that you can do. You were seeing the episodes that you had watched playing out on the table. And that's when the light goes off. You're like, yes, look at what I have done. Fire, right? Awesome. So it hit that moment. And now we're back to kind of the cycle of almost any game design, which is we're nearing the end. We're going to be, for anyone that's interested, we're absolutely going to be doing an open beta here. If I can not have everything else keep throwing stuff on my plate, which, never happens.
No.
Just like for all of us. Hopefully by the end of this week, if not the start of next week, I'll have all the files prepared to then be able to start doing an open beta. So if you're interested and you have not signed up on the BackerKit landing page, we'll basically be emailing everyone on that list to say, hey, if you'd like to play the game, play it. But you do reach a point where you have played it so much that it starts to get a little back into that. No, it's not quite working yet. We got to play it again. Nope, got to play it again. And that's just part of the process, right? Every game has that.
Yeah.
Anything you work on, that's same thing with Roomfire. As much as I love Roomfire, towards the very end, we're like, oh no, we got to play this adventure again. It's not quite working. And there was a little bit of like, okay, we can do this, right? So.
Well, I do have to say, now that I have to say it on the internet, I said it earlier just on our call, but Shoto is my favorite.
Shoto is my favorite.
As of right now.
You wait. I think Shoto will remain your favorite. A lot of people, Bakugo is their favorite. I totally get it. He actually has right now, you won't think that. He actually has one of the better story arcs.
Oh my God, he's so annoying right now. He's just
but you will be
pissed.
I totally get it. I agree with you. You will be shocked at his growth. It's kind of awesome. But I'm telling you, last night, Shoto's story arc in season 5 was the most gut punch. Oh, it was super sad and glorious and everything you want of an emotional coaster. Yeah. So good. There's so many characters. So many great characters.
We're making our way pretty fast through it because it's just an easy watch.
It is. It's an easy watch.
We're enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
So go watch MHA.
Yeah, you should. It's fantastic. And then a huge shout out to, as I always do, I love shouting out our partners because we can't do without them, and they're awesome. Blake and Jill over at Crunchyroll have been amazing. And then everyone at Toho, it's just, fantastic. Like, to be honest, when I started into this process, I didn't quite realize how gigantic Toho is on that side. They're a very large company. So it's pretty awesome to be able to step into their next to their huge shadow. And then the MHA, the final season of MHA starts in October, which is roughly when we're hoping to be doing our Kickstarter. We don't quite have the timing down yet. There's lots of wheels in motion, but that's roughly around when we're hoping to be able to launch, so we can, take all of the excitement and just run with it.
Well, I'm being scolded by the mods that we need to switch over to questions because we have a lot of good ones. So
Well, you and I can just talk for hours and
I,
hours. So
I
I get
didn't really worry. I was like, oh, well, we talked about MHA 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine.
exactly.
That's fine.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
all right.
bring the
What was that?
yeah, bring the questions.
All right, let's do it. Oh my gosh, there are a lot of questions. All right, here we go. Some of them seem a little less serious, but how long before we get an Irby or Gothic Atlas for an inflatable Halloween decoration?
It was a small one. We've actually thought about doing some kind of smallish ones. That's absolutely on the list. Usually it's a case of somebody just needs to fall in love with it enough to actually run down and make it happen. But I wouldn't be surprised in the next year or two if something like that happens.
For Randall, this is from Andrew Dickinson. Last week's Alpha Strike game had 186 units on the table. We are gunning for your record.
Yes, I love it. What they're referring to is every time when I fall in love with the game, I automatically supersize it. And so I have run multiple regiments on a table with Alpha Strike. But I think what he might also be referring to, and I'm not sure I'm going to give it to him with Alpha Strike rules, is that when I graduated from high school, the moment we had graduated, went over to my friend Scott's house with Chad and Tony and Jeff. I think that was everyone. We cleared out his room. He had a big room, cleared it all out except for a bed in the corner. And then we laid out 25 Battletech maps. And then we threw down 2 reinforced regiments. So that's over 250 models played out using classic rules. We literally played every day the entire summer long for 3 months. So wow. There's very few people I've ever met that were that insane. Of course, I could never do that now, but luckily,
was that on your resume for FASA? It said, what qualifies you to work Battletech?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've played bigger games than anybody. But no, I love hearing. See, that's what I love about Alpha Strike. I love that there's a whole tournament scene. Like I was able to go to Southern Assault last year and watch a tournament style. And that was really cool to me. For me, what I love about Alpha Strike is I can throw a battalion on the board and get it over with in an evening because I always like to go really big. Like, for example, My Hero Academia is designed 3-on-3. Well, last week we started playing 5-on-5. Can the rules handle that? Is that cool? Because people are going to want to do that. I want to do it.
Well, there's the one attack on the training facility, so I want to be able to replay. Well,
in season 5, there's hundreds, right? Yeah. I'm not sure my game can handle that, but
move the furniture out, lay down some maps, and
I'm not trying hard enough then.
All right, I have an add-on to this question, to this next question. So Prussian Havoc asks, is that a work of Leviathan's art on the wall behind you? And I'm going to add to that, why is that the piece that is your crown in your all of your meetings and interviews?
So this is actually a very emotional thing. So for one, again, Leviathans was my very first all original game design. So I've been in this industry for 30 years. I've worked on a ton of different games. The vast majority of the time I work on pre-existing games. I just do additional development, additional growth, and so on. So Leviathans was my first original game. The second part is that Doug Chafee is an artist that was one of the titans of Battletech art back into the 80s. He is such a giant of an artist that he was concept sketching for NASA before there was a NASA. There are numerous 4-star generals and admirals with his art in their house. Like 15 or 20 years ago, there was like a 20-foot Marine One in the White House from him. Like,
wow,
world-renowned classed artist. And he's coming to us going, can I come and play in your giant stompy robots? And so when I pitched to him, because of all that naval connection, when I pitched to him, hey, we need to craft a whole new universe, a whole new style of aesthetics for Leviathans, he was all in. And so we did that together. And it was one of the most magical experiences of my entire career to be with Stunning artist. Now, this piece in particular, this gets a little emotional because we were working on this piece. This was going to be the rule book way back in the day. It's the new rule book cover. I'm pretty sure he snuck me into that. It's pretty a younger version of me, all black, and my big beard is relatively close to that to that captain right there. But his wife, I got a call from his wife to say that Doug had passed away.
Oh.
And I was devastated, right? Because we'd become great friends, an amazing artist. And then a day or two later, this shows up in the email that he had finalized it literally the day he died. And then his wife scanned it and sent it in to me. And of course, it's a massive, gorgeous piece of art.
Wow.
And so one Christmas, Lauren took it, my our boss and awesome friend, and put it on and framed it and put it on a canvas. And so for all of those reasons, it absolutely is the star of my room.
That's awesome. Oh, that's a great story. I gotta ask another question or I'm gonna cry. Chris Merwin asks, aerospace Kickstarter or other news about aerospace?
Absolutely. So we don't have any news on a Kickstarter, but we absolutely are continuing development on the aerospace game. Part of why I was so excited to do that commemorative edition of 3025 just because it was a great idea. But part of why it was so amazing is that we had to redesign all of the aerospace fighters, which means we're already a leg up in that direction. We're continuing development. We are looking at how force packs would work. We're looking at a new box set for aerospace, basically a new aerotech. So yes, absolutely, that's all in the works. It's all moving forward. Hopefully, I'd say by October, maybe November latest, we could be out doing an open beta with all of the rules. So that's all moving forward. We're super excited for that.
From the Battletech forum, from the 21st Centauri Lancers box, will the Jadehawk's wings be posable?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
They are actually on a separate sprue in it. We're kind of, every time we do this, we take a little more baby step and a little more baby step. So they're on the sprue, you trim them out, and you can tuck them on there with a friction fit or glue them in however you wish.
Awesome. Turbo Turtle asks, is the rockets and ray guns going to have Ming the Merciless, AC Chancellor of the Capellan Confederation? Oh, as Chancellor.
Yeah. Maybe. Once again, Herb did such an amazing job on building the universe for Gothic that he is at the helm once again for Cosmic Patrol, and he's been working away in his workshop of doom, creating lots and lots of cool stuff. So
cool.
We'll have to see when we get there.
Andrew Brown asks, question, in the UK on Amazon, I seem to be able to print on demand novels in print order up to Falcon Guard and then not till Embers of War. That's a big gap. Any idea why?
Just because of the amount of time it takes to go back through and redo all of these books. Because we just don't want to release them as is. We're taking the opportunity to actually go through, reproof them. You then have to relay them out. So it's a time consuming process. And so it's always we have this new fiction and then trying to carve the time out for all the old fiction. So it'll get done. It just takes time.
Cool. Question from Billy for I'm gonna have you keep this pretty brief because time, and we still have a lot of questions. For Randall, top 3 Battletech novels you'd recommend and top 3 non-Battletech novels you'd recommend.
Oh my gosh, that's not fair. Telling me that was short amount of time. Battletech novels, top 3. I would probably go Heir to the Dragon, which still remains one of my all-time favorites. I would go Double Blind. I think that's a fantastic single start into it. I think Highlander's Gambit is another great single start spot because most of the others then are like parts of series, but it's just brand new into the universe. I think those 3 are great. So far as then other novels, just some of my all-time favorite. Dune remains one of my all-time favorite novels. If you want it's hard for me not to get a Brandon Sanderson novel in there because he's become one of my favorite current authors. And so if you haven't tried any of his work, just start with Mistborn. It is part of a trilogy, but it's also, that first book is quite self-contained. I think he can do that really easily. And then I'm also a huge Alistair Reynolds fan. I think he does some of the hardest science fiction. So if you love big, chunky, hard sci-fi novels, then check out his Revelation space novel.
Awesome. Reckon asks Catalyst Con, CatCon. All con share. I've done a 2K person gaming con before.
Yeah. I think someday it'll happen, but we just got to get there.
Yeah. That's a lot of work.
It is.
So,
okay.
Night Moss asks, who do we email if items are missing from our Leviathan's backer kit fulfillment? Email store@catalystgamelabs.com. And we'll get CJ on figuring that out for you. Turbo Turtle asks, how many MHA minis are you planning to roll out?
There are 36 models that can potentially be unlocked through the Kickstarter. So if it funds, there is a bare 10 of them, all from class 1A. And then we immediately start bringing in some of the villains and then just go on. And MHA has hundreds of characters. We could have gone absolutely nuts, had to draw the line somewhere. So it is 36 that could be unlocked.
Cool. I like this is from the entire Battletech community, but forwarded by Kalos. Any news on the MUL 2.0?
We actually have a website update that needs to happen to be able to then get the new MUL out the door. I don't have an update. I'm hoping by the end of the month, but there's some big website logistics popping that is going on right now.
Cool. Chris Merwin asks, any news on the release of the BFMs?
I assume he's referring to new BFMs, or because as far as I'm aware, the city lunar BFM is on our website. If it's not, email us and we'll figure out.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
We actually just got in the ice side, basically the misery side of the fire and ice, the volcano and glacier side. We actually just got that art in right before Gen Con. So I'm hoping at this stage, you're probably looking at Adepticon when we would have the third BFM out.
Cool. Turbo Turtle, what about the annexes for the Davian and Kurita combat manuals that bring the forces up to the Jihad Dark Era?
I believe those are starting into layout. There was it happens every year when we're going to Gen Con, we suddenly have a million cool ideas and a million cool things. And so layout just got absolutely chock full and stopped that material. And as far as I'm aware, those are starting to move into process of getting laid out.
Cool. Andrew Dickinson asks, will the other Battletech alternate universe sets be the same beefy scale?
For the minis themselves, yes. Yeah, so it was a hard decision to come to because we understand how important scale is for people. But at the same time, one of the few drawbacks to Battletech is that the scale is smaller, and it means that you don't get the ability to really show off the details and the paint and all that. And because we went kind of crazy with the details for Gothic, we really felt that it just needed to be a little beefier. And I imagine we will use the same beefier scale for all of them.
Okay. Star League Battlestar release date. Do you know anything about that? It's not on my list.
Well, we flew that in, so okay. That's probably on the water, probably October.
Okay.
Maybe November. It's certainly by November, but I would say probably around October.
I'm writing that down for my next meeting with Talon.
Yep.
Battle Star. Okay. Billy, will any Aces boxes have more than 2 new mechs, or will it stick to 2 new, 5 variants, 2 vehicles?
Sorry, the what boxes?
Aces.
Oh, sorry, Aces. Yeah, the new ones will stick to 2 brand new whatever it is. So for the first Aces, it was 1 new mech, 2 new vehicles, and then the other 6 mechs were alternates. So yeah, we will be sticking to that, but we're trying to like push boundaries and really get out the cool variants. For example, in the Bane 3, which is the insane missile boat, I think that mini alone is going to be a chase figure for some people. And so yeah, that's still the process we're looking at, but we are hoping that as we're doing that, we'll be able to get some of these really good fan favorite variants out.
Cool. All right, I'm going to do 2 more questions because we're at 5 now. Mahi Mahi asks, will we be able to purchase additional Gothic decals somewhere? And was the C-Scale Atlas supposed to have some decals included, or did mine get missed?
No, there are no C-Scale decals. The decals that are in the base box set, the large sets, should work on, because there was a whole series of sizes in that. They should work on the C-Scale though. Currently we have no plans for getting those decals anywhere else though, just in the box.
Cool. And then Lev's question from Night Moss, any chance there might be Leviathan's product at Gamehole Con? I know it's more RPG focused. If fulfillment is done by then, it should be. Then we'd bring some, like a little bit, like the core box and maybe a couple of products. But we only brought a couple of Battletech things last year. We're gonna bring a little bit more this year. But it just depends on fulfillment and where we're at. So I'd say right now, as of right now, there's a good chance of it. But I don't want to promise and not deliver. So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Randall. You always make this easy.
I love coming on.
Awesome. Great.
Darn.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
I would say talk about cool geeky stuff. Oh darn.
Yeah. Well, and I love all the stories and stuff. And I mean, I could ask you a million questions just on what's behind you. So
yeah, it is. Well, we'll have to do that. Get me on a couple more times, and then have one of them be what's this. And then
do
I'll
a tour, yeah, like of the game cave.
Well, and here I'm gonna do this carefully so I don't do the, it's my cave, and so I've got a whole giant.
Wow. Holy crap!
There's a story everywhere about almost everything in my office.
That's so cool. That is.
But I've been building this for almost my whole life, so.
That's impressive. When I saw that room last, you were not moved in yet.
Oh yeah, no. I remember walking in though and immediately going, "Oh, this is going to be the best office gaming room I've ever had in my life."
Yay! Awesome. Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here too. We'll be back next week with Black Book editions from France to talk about Anarchy 2.0. Don't forget to follow the Shadowrun Anarchy project on Kickstarter because it's launching next week. But thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you all. Bye.